Liam stared at the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. His hands trembled, the words blurring and refocusing. This marriage is essential for the survival of the Earth-Zephora alliance. He had always dreamed of exploring the stars, of meeting strange life forms, but not like this. Never like this. The Earth government had just informed him that he, a 28-year-old with dreams of adventure, was being forced to marry an alien woman. Her name was Lyra of Zephora, a world famous for its advanced technology and strict customs. The worst part? She was 33 years older than him. His friends tried to offer comfort, but their words felt hollow. Maybe she's nice, one had said. How could he explain the cold dread that filled him? This wasn't about being nice. This was about survival, about being a political pawn in a game far bigger than himself. As he walked toward the spaceship at the orbital station, he took one last look at Earth. The city lights twinkled below, and he felt a profound sense of loneliness. Was anyone else making a sacrifice like this? Stepping aboard the ship, an unnerving silence greeted him. The only sound was a low hum, a soft vibration under his feet like the heartbeat of some great beast. A steward appeared and handed him a small tablet, a message from Lyra herself. "Do not fear the unknown," it read. "Your courage will define you." The words were calm, almost regal, but they sent a shiver down his spine. Who was this woman, and what did she want from him? Hours later, the ship arrived at Zephora. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he gazed out the viewport. Mountains with crystal peaks pierced the clouds, oceans shimmered with unearthly colors, and the sky swirled with lights he'd never imagined. The planet's beauty was breathtaking, but it did little to quiet the storm of anxiety raging within him. When the shuttle landed, she was waiting. Lyra. She was taller than him, her posture radiating an authority that was both captivating and intimidating. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders, and her eyes, which glowed faintly in the dim light, seemed to pierce right through him. "Liam," she said, her voice deep and steady. "Welcome to Zephora." He swallowed hard, the sound of her voice a strange mix of fear and awe. He felt like a child standing before a queen. Thank you," he stammered. "I'm ready to—" Lyra simply raised a hand, silencing him. "You will have time to adjust. But know this. This union is not just for your sake. It is for your people, for the future." Her words carried a weight that crushed his hopes of protesting. There was a depth in her eyes, an ancient wisdom that made him feel impossibly young and fragile. That night, alone in his new quarters, sleep wouldn't come. He thought about Lyra's legendary reputation, stories of her wisdom, her bravery, her strange abilities. They said she could command technology with her mind and had single-handedly defeated alien fleets. How could he, a simple man from Earth, ever be her equal? He felt like he was being led into a lion's den. Suddenly, a soft glow filled the room. A small, intricate artifact floated in midair, humming gently. Beside it, a note appeared. "For courage, for growth. Trust yourself, Liam." Cautiously, he reached out and took the object. A warm energy flowed from it, a hum that resonated deep within his bones. It felt alive, as if it was testing him, welcoming him. In that moment, Liam realized this marriage was more than politics. It was a trial, a journey into the unknown, not just of space, but of himself. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, or if he could ever earn the respect of the formidable woman he was bound to. But as he finally drifted into an uneasy sleep, one thing was clear. His life had changed forever, and there was no turning back. The stars outside shimmered, and somewhere in the distance his destiny waited. I woke to the soft hum of an alien morning. The light filtering through the windows wasn't like Earth's sun. Violet streaks danced across the sky, casting shadows that seemed almost alive. My room smelled faintly of ozone and something metallic, a constant reminder that I was impossibly far from home. The door slid open without a sound. I turned, startled, and there she was. "Lyra?" Standing in the doorway, her glowing eyes fixed on me. She didn't smile, she didn't speak. She just watched me, like a predator studying its prey. "You are awake," she finally said, her voice calm but firm. Good. We have much to begin. I swallowed hard. I'd expected awkward introductions, maybe some polite small talk. I hadn't expected this. Lyra radiated authority. Every step she took seemed to shift the very air around her. I felt small, fragile, and painfully aware of my own humanity. She gestured toward the window. Come. You must understand Zephora, or you will never survive here. I followed reluctantly. Outside, the city of Zephora stretched endlessly. Towers of translucent crystal spiraled toward the sky. Roads glimmered like liquid light, and flying vehicles traced elegant paths through the air. Humanity had never conceived of anything so beautiful. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling of danger lurking just beneath the surface. This is your new reality, Lyra said, her voice cutting through my awe. Zephora does not tolerate weakness. Every being here is strong. Every choice matters. And you— She paused, her glowing eyes piercing right through me. You must learn to be more than human. Her words made my stomach twist. More than human. I was barely keeping up with basic survival, let alone becoming some sort of intergalactic hero. Then she did something that made me freeze. Lyra raised her hand slightly, and the air shimmered. A small drone hovering nearby froze mid-air, then reassembled itself into a perfect sphere of light. It hovered silently, obeying her command as if it were an extension of her own will. Do you see? She asked, her voice calm but edged with steel. This is Zephora. Adaptation is not optional. My mouth went dry. This woman, older, alien, impossibly intimidating, was unlike anyone I had ever met. And yet I felt a strange pull, as if the world itself respected her power. Over the next few hours, Lyra guided me through the city. She introduced me to Zephorans, each taller and more imposing than any human, each moving with a fluid, predatory grace. But I noticed something odd. Everyone subtly deferred to her, not just out of fear, but with a deep, reverent respect. She wasn't just a diplomat. She was a force of nature, a guardian, a living legend. I tried to ask questions about her life, her powers, her age, but every word felt clumsy and inadequate. Lyra answered in short, precise sentences, never revealing too much, always keeping me on edge. Then came the first test. She led me to a vast chamber filled with glowing geometric symbols and strange, humming machinery. Touch it, she commanded, pointing to a small orb pulsating with light. My hands trembled as I reached out. The moment my fingers brushed its surface, a vision exploded in my mind. Stars imploding, alien armies clashing, and a figure just like Lyra moving through the chaos with deadly precision. I stumbled back, gasping for air. Lyra's eyes softened just for a moment. The artifact responds to perception. It shows what your mind fears. Many fail here. Most humans cannot endure it. Fear and awe mingled in my chest. The world was alive, reactive, and merciless. And yet, I also felt a strange thrill, a spark of curiosity, of determination. Maybe I could survive this. Maybe I could rise to meet her challenge. That night, as I lay in my quarters, I replayed the day over and over. Lyra's calm authority, her strange powers, the city itself. It all felt too advanced, too dangerous. I realized this wasn't just a political marriage. I had been thrown into a world that would either shape me or break me completely. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. The door slid open, and a small holographic creature floated inside. It was a message from Lyra. Do not fear me, Liam. Fear yourself if you do not learn. Your trial has only begun. Trial. That word echoed in my mind. I had assumed marriage would be awkward, maybe even frightening. I never imagined it would be a test of survival. Somewhere in this alien city, I knew Lyra was watching, studying my every reaction, my every fear. And somewhere deep inside me, a spark ignited. If I could survive this, maybe I could become something more than the man who had boarded that ship. For now, uncertainty was all I had. Why was I chosen? What did Lyra truly want from me? Was I even ready for this world? Outside, Zyphora pulsed with life, and the stars above seemed to whisper promises and threats in equal measure. Tomorrow, I knew, would push me even further into the unknown, and into a bond that would redefine everything I thought I knew about humans, aliens, and myself. The suns of Zyphora painted the morning sky in shifting shades of liquid fire. From my balcony, the city below was a breathtaking sight, crystal towers shimmering as silent, strange vehicles weaved between them. It was beautiful, undeniably so. But something felt off. Zyphora was alive, moving with a purpose I couldn't even begin to grasp. It was overwhelming. Suddenly, Lyra was beside me, her silver hair catching the alien light. "You are observing," she stated, her voice calm as her eyes scanned the horizon. "Good. Observation is the first step toward understanding." I swallowed hard, the unease in my stomach twisting. "I see a lot," I admitted, "but I don't understand any of it." She turned to face me, her gaze steady and intense. "Then learn. That is your task." We walked through the city streets, and I felt like a clumsy child. The Zyphorans moved with a fluid grace, as if they were one with the city itself. Light and energy seemed to bend to their will. In contrast, I felt awkward, weak, painfully human. Lyra led me to the Hall of Records, a colossal structure of crystal and light. Inside, holographic panels floated in the air, displaying centuries of Zyphoran history, battles, discoveries, and secrets. I could only gasp. Their civilization was beyond anything Earth could imagine. "You must understand," Lyra said, her voice low and serious. "Zyphora has faced extinction many times. Only those who adapt, who learn, survive. And you will be tested." "Tested?" I asked, a new kind of fear creeping in. Her eyes gleamed. "The kind that separates fear from courage, ignorance from knowledge. You are not here as a tourist, Liam. You are here to grow or die trying." The word sent a chill down my spine. Over the next few hours, she showed me their technology. Devices that manipulated gravity, healed devastating injuries in minutes, even projected thoughts into reality. My mind spun. How could humanity ever compare? How could I survive this? Then she took me to a secluded chamber. On the wall, symbols pulsed with light. "These are the records of my life," she said. "Not all are pleasant, but they are all lessons. Observe." Images flashed across the chamber, Lyra leading fleets into battle against monstrous invaders, teaching young warriors with incredible patience, mediating conflicts that could have shattered planets. This was the woman I was supposed to marry. She had conquered more than I could even dream of. But behind the power, I saw something else, a deep sense of responsibility, a commitment to growth and trust. "Your presence here is not meaningless," she told me, her voice softening slightly. "You have potential, Liam, but potential alone does not survive. Courage, intuition, your humanity. These are your tools. Use them." Her words sparked something in me, a flicker of defiance, a need to rise to this impossible challenge. Just then, a low, resonant alarm hummed through the entire city. The holograms in the hall flickered urgently. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "An anomaly," she said, her voice sharp. "Something is approaching Zyphora. Something dangerous." My heart hammered against my ribs. "What is it?" She led me to a high viewing platform. Through the shimmering sky, I saw them, a fleet of strange, black ships gliding silently toward the planet. They moved with a terrifying precision that screamed hostility. Lyra's gaze met mine. "You are about to see why humans are needed. You will learn fast, or you will not survive." In that moment, I understood. This marriage wasn't just political. It was preparation. She was training me, forcing me to become something more. As the Black Fleet blotted out the alien suns, fear clawed at me. But beneath it, a new feeling took root. Determination. This was my trial. Lyra's expression was unreadable but utterly commanding. "Come," she said. "There is no time for hesitation. Your first real challenge begins now." And as I stepped forward, I left the fragile human I had been behind. The sky over Zyphora turned dark. The violet morning twisted into a menacing blend of black and red. My heart was a drum against my ribs as I stood beside Lyra on the observation deck. The fleet of dark ships, the anomaly she'd warned me about, was closing in fast. Each one was sleek, black, and radiated pure menace. Their purpose was clear. Invasion. "This is not a drill." Lyra's voice was low, but it cut through the air with command. "They are here to destroy, not negotiate. You must stay close and observe. Do not interfere unless I tell you to." I swallowed hard, my hands trembling. A part of me screamed to run, to hide, to just wake up from this nightmare. But Lyra's calm, unwavering presence held me in place. There was no turning back now. The first ship fired. A beam of dark energy shot toward the city, and I watched in horror as crystalline towers melted into glowing shards. Screams erupted from below as civilians scattered like startled birds. I stumbled back, frozen by a terror so profound it stole the air from my lungs. "Move," Lyra barked, grabbing my arm. She pulled me toward the central defense hub, a massive structure of light and metal. I could barely keep up with her long strides as we raced through the chaos. She didn't look scared, not even for a second. Every movement was precise, controlled, almost effortless. Inside the hub, she touched a glowing console. Instantly, holographic shields sprang to life, encasing parts of the city in a protective dome. I watched in awe. She was fighting a battle I couldn't even begin to understand, and yet she expected me to learn, to adapt, to survive. Suddenly, one of the alien ships broke through the outer defenses. It hovered over the residential districts, and beams of destructive energy rained down. My stomach churned. Those were innocent lives down there. Lyra didn't hesitate. She raised her hands, and energy radiated from her fingertips. The very air around her seemed to ripple, bending light and matter. The alien ship's beams faltered, scattering like water hitting stone. Then, with a single fluid motion, Lyra released a pulse of energy that sent the massive warship crashing to the ground. My jaw dropped. She had stopped a warship. Alone. "Do not stare," Lyra commanded, her voice sharp. "Focus, learn. You are not safe yet." I nodded, forcing down my fear. This wasn't just a battle for survival, it was a lesson. Every move, every choice mattered. She guided me to a secondary control panel, one designed for humans to assist in the defense. A smaller ship had breached the shields near the city's edge. I hesitated, then remembered Lyra's words. Courage, intuition, humanity. Taking a deep breath, I grabbed the controls and redirected a flow of energy, blocking the alien beams. It worked. The first time, it actually worked. A thrill of pride, hot and sharp, shot through me. Lyra glanced at me, her eyes glowing faintly. "Good," she said simply. But there was no smile. "Do not grow overconfident. They are not finished with us." The battle raged on. Explosions lit the sky like deadly fireworks. I fought alongside Lyra, my fingers flying over controls I was only just beginning to understand. Hours blurred into minutes. At one point, an alien drone breached the hub itself, its sharp claws ready to strike. I froze, paralyzed by terror. Without a thought, Lyra stepped in front of me, energy crackling around her, and obliterated the drone in a single, devastating blast. I could only stare, a mixture of awe and fear churning in my gut. After what felt like an eternity, the alien fleet finally retreated, vanishing into the dark expanse. The city was scarred, lives were lost, but Zephora had survived. I sank to the floor, exhausted, trembling, and filled with a strange sense of accomplishment. I had faced real death, real danger, and I was still here. Lyra knelt beside me. "You acted well, better than I expected. But this is only the beginning. There are forces in this galaxy that will test every human, and every Xipheran. You must learn faster." I looked up at her, and for the first time I saw something other than fear in my own reflection. I saw determination. I had been forced into this marriage, into this world, but now I finally understood. Survival was possible. Growth was possible. That night, staring out at the scarred city from my quarters, I realized something. I couldn't stay the same person who boarded that ship weeks ago. The galaxy was vast and dangerous. Lyra was my guide, my mentor, my wife. But more than that, she was a mirror, reflecting my weaknesses and pushing me toward a strength I never knew I had. Deep inside, a spark ignited, a whisper that said, "You are human, you can survive, you can fight, you can grow." Outside, the stars over Zyphora shimmered. Among them, I knew, were new threats and new trials, and when they came, I would be ready, or I would die trying. The battle was over, but the city still trembled from the echoes of alien weapons. Smoke drifted through the crystalline towers of Zyphora, casting eerie shadows across its streets and plazas. I wandered through the debris, my mind racing. I had survived, yes, but so many questions consumed me. Why had they attacked? Why was I chosen for this marriage? And what did Lyra really want from me? Just then Lyra approached silently, her figure calm amid the chaos. "Come with me," she said. Her voice held no emotion, yet it demanded obedience. Exhausted, I followed her, trying to match her pace as we moved deeper into the city. We reached a secluded chamber, one I'd never seen before. The walls glowed with shifting symbols pulsating with a soft, living energy. The center stood a pedestal, and on it a small crystalline device hummed quietly. "This," Lyra said, gesturing to the device, "is why you were brought here." I frowned, confused. The marriage, or something else? Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Both. I was assigned to you not only for the alliance, but because humans have potential the galaxy underestimates. My role is to awaken that potential. To teach, guide, and test. You, Liam, are the first human I have trusted with this responsibility." My head spun. "Trusted me? I'm just a human. I barely survived today." Lyra's expression softened, just slightly. "That is exactly why. Humanity's strength lies in its courage, creativity, and unpredictability. Advanced technology can fail, but humans. You adapt, innovate, and survive where others cannot. That is why you were chosen." Her words hit me hard. I had felt weak, afraid, powerless, but she was telling me that my humanity was my greatest strength, that my intuition, my courage, even my mistakes, could be my greatest weapons. She gestured to the crystalline device. "This artifact records and amplifies the skills of all who interact with it. You will train here, learn, understand, adapt. When the next threat comes, you will not be powerless." A chill ran down my spine. This was no ordinary training. The artifact was alive, responding to thoughts, emotions, and willpower. It tested perception, strategy, and reflexes in ways I had never imagined. Hesitantly, I reached out and touched it. A flood of visions exploded in my mind. Battlefields, alien fleets, collapsing planets. I staggered backward, overwhelmed by the chaos. "You are human," Lyra said softly, her voice cutting through the noise in my head. "Your ingenuity, your courage, your mistakes. These are your tools. Trust them." For the first time, I understood. Lyra hadn't chosen me for strength or skill. She had chosen me because humans had something unique, something the galaxy couldn't predict or control. Suddenly, alarms blared through the city again. The sensors detected a shadow fleet approaching, larger and faster than the one we had just fought. My pulse quickened. The real danger had only just begun. Lyra turned to me. "You will stand with me. You will act, and you will lead. Do you understand?" "Yes," I said, a surge of determination replacing my fear. That night I lay awake, staring at the alien sky. The stars over Zyphora no longer seemed distant and indifferent. They were watching, waiting. I understood now that my marriage to Lyra was preparation for something far larger than myself. Somewhere deep inside, a spark of courage ignited. Being human wasn't a weakness. It was a weapon. The artifact hummed softly from the chamber below, its glow reflecting my newfound resolve. The threat would return, more dangerous than before. But I knew one thing. I would not run. I would not fail. We humans are survivors, innovators, and warriors. Lyra's silent presence beside me was a powerful reminder. We were partners. Outside, Zephora's lights flickered, and I felt the thrill of the unknown. The galaxy was dangerous, the enemies ruthless, and the stakes unimaginably high. Yet for the first time, I felt ready, because I was human. And as Lyra taught me, humans can face the impossible and triumph. The sky above Zephora boiled with dark clouds and the menacing shadows of alien ships. The second fleet had arrived. They were bigger, faster, and far deadlier than anything we had faced before. I stood at the command hub, my hands gripping the controls so hard my knuckles were bone white. Beside me, Lyra was a picture of calm intensity. The entire city trembled under the fleet's presence, and the massive energy shields protecting us flickered and groaned under the relentless assault. Lyra's eyes glowed softly. "Remember what I taught you," she said, her voice steady. "Courage, intuition, humanity. Do not hesitate. Act. Lead." My heart was a drum against my ribs. This wasn't a simulation. This wasn't a lesson. This was life and death, and every human in the hub was looking to me, waiting for a command, their faces etched with uncertainty. In that moment I realized this was it. My first time leading in a real battle. The first wave of enemy ships descended. Searing beams of energy tore through the streets, shattering buildings into dust. I could hear the screams of civilians running for cover. Lyra's lessons echoed in my mind. Think creatively, anticipate, use unpredictability. My hands flew across the controls. I rerouted the shields, creating protected corridors for people to escape, while simultaneously directing our counterfire at the attacking vessels. I glanced at Lyra, a flicker of approval in her eyes. "Good," she murmured. "Keep thinking ahead. Anticipate." Suddenly, a massive alien warship breached the main shield near the central plaza. Its weapons were terrifying, beams that seemed to bend reality itself, tearing at the very fabric of matter. Panic began to ripple through the human crew. My mind raced, searching for a solution. Then an idea sparked. A truly human idea. We improvise. I began manipulating our shield angles, redirecting energy pulses, and carefully timing our defenses. It was a crazy plan, a desperate trap. After a few tense attempts, it worked. A controlled energy pulse from the hub hit the warship at the perfect angle, sending it spinning out of control. It crashed into a distant mountain, a fiery monument to our defiance. Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Excellent. You are learning." But the fight was far from over. Swarms of smaller, faster drones now flooded the city, bypassing our main defenses and striking indiscriminately. Fear clawed at me, cold and sharp, but I shoved it down. This was my chance to prove that human ingenuity could stand against overwhelming technology. I started analyzing their attack patterns, predicting their movements. With a series of rapid commands, I manipulated the drones' own targeting systems, causing them to collide with each other mid-air. In an instant, half of them were disabled. Lyra moved to my side, her hands now glowing with raw power. We became a seamless unit. My strategy, my intuition, my quick thinking, combined with her incredible power. The humans under our command responded instantly, acting like a well-oiled machine. The alien fleet had gravely underestimated us. Then the most dangerous moment of all. A stealth ship, cloaked in darkness, materialized right near the hub. Its primary weapon locked onto Lyra. I had only seconds. I didn't think. I just acted. I diverted the shield and channeled the energy from the artifact she had given me, creating a powerful counterpulse. The enemy beam deflected, slamming back into the stealth ship and obliterating it instantly. Lyra's eyes widened in a rare show of surprise. "Impressive," she said, her voice holding a new tone, pride. Hours later, the tide had turned. The alien fleet, battered and disoriented, finally retreated into the black void of space. Zephora was scarred, and we had lost people, but we had survived. I sank to the floor, exhausted and shaking, but filled with a profound sense of accomplishment. Lyra knelt beside me, her expression softer than I had ever seen. "You acted with courage and creativity. Humanity has worth, Liam. Never forget this." I swallowed hard, my voice hoarse. I didn't think I could do it. She placed a hand on my shoulder. Yes, you did. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy is vast and the threats are far greater than this. You must always grow, always adapt, always survive. For the first time I understood. This marriage, this training, it was about preparing humanity to face the impossible, to shine when the galaxy least expected it. That night, looking out at the recovering city, I felt a quiet strength settle deep within me. I had been afraid, but I had acted. I had been uncertain, but I had chosen courage. I had survived, not just through Lyra's power, but through my own human ingenuity. Humans might be small and fragile, but we can rise against the impossible. I was no longer just a human in an alien world. I was a partner, a strategist, and a survivor. The sky above Zyphora was a storm of dark clouds and alien shadows. The second fleet had arrived, larger, faster, and deadlier than the first. I stood at the command hub beside Lyra, my hands gripping the controls so tightly my knuckles turned white. The city trembled, and the energy shields around the towers flickered under the heavy assault. Lyra's eyes glowed with calm intensity. "Remember what I taught you," she said. "Courage, intuition, humanity. Do not hesitate. Act. Lead." My heart pounded. This was no longer a simulation. This was life and death. The humans in the hub looked to me, waiting for guidance. I realized then that I wasn't just learning from Lyra anymore. I was leading for the first time in a real battle. The first wave of enemy ships descended, tearing through the streets. Civilians screamed, running for cover. I remembered Lyra's lessons. Think creatively, anticipate, use unpredictability. I quickly rerouted energy shields, creating safe corridors while directing counterfire. Lyra glanced at me, a flicker of approval in her eyes. "Good. Keep thinking ahead." Suddenly, a massive alien warship broke through the shield. Its weapons were terrifying, beams that bent reality itself. Panic surged through the human crew. My mind raced. Then an idea struck me. Humans improvise. Using a combination of shield angles, energy redirection, and timing, I created a trap. It took several attempts, but finally, a controlled energy pulse sent the alien vessel spinning out of control, crashing into a distant mountain. Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Excellent. You are learning." But the battle was far from over. Smaller drones swarmed the city, bypassing defenses. I felt fear claw at me, but I pushed it down. This was my chance to prove that human ingenuity mattered. I manipulated their attack patterns, causing them to collide mid-air, disabling half of them instantly. Lyra moved beside me, her hands glowing with energy. Together we became a seamless unit. My strategy, her power. The humans under our guidance acted like well-oiled machines. Then came the most dangerous moment. A stealth ship struck near the hub, its beam targeting Lyra. I had only seconds. Without thinking, I activated a shield diversion and used the artifact she'd given me to create a counterpulse. The beam deflected, striking the stealth ship and destroying it. Lyra's eyes widened in a rare moment of surprise. "Impressive," she said, her voice carrying a tone I'd never heard before, pride. Hours passed, but the tide finally turned. The alien fleet, battered and disoriented, retreated. Zyphora was scarred, but we had survived. I sank to the floor, exhausted but filled with an unshakable sense of accomplishment. Lyra knelt beside me. "You acted with courage and creativity. Humanity has worth, Liam. Do not forget this." I nodded, swallowing hard. I didn't think I could do it." She placed a hand on my shoulder. "Yes, you did, but remember, this was only the beginning." After the battle, Lyra and I walked through the healing city. For the first time, I noticed a softness in her expression. The intimidating alien who once filled me with fear now moved beside me as an equal. "You have proven something important," she said quietly. "Not just to me, but to the galaxy." I finally felt a deep pride in being human. I was no longer the frightened man who had arrived weeks ago. I had learned, adapted, and led. As we reached the central plaza, The artifact Lyra had given me floated in the air, pulsating gently. It seemed to recognize my growth. "The artifact has judged you, Liam," she said. "You are ready for what comes next." A thrill of anticipation and unease shot through me. What could possibly come next? Before I could ask, Lyra smiled faintly, a rare and human-like expression. "For now we recover, we rebuild, and we prepare." As the sun set, I looked at her and understood. Our bond was no longer just political. It was built on mutual respect and trust forged in fire. "Thank you," I said softly, "for showing me that humans are capable of more than I ever imagined." Lyra's glowing eyes softened. "You earned it. And remember this, Liam, the universe is vast and dangerous. But humans have something no one can take away. You carry it within you." The stars above shimmered, brighter than ever before. Somewhere out there, countless dangers awaited. But I was ready. I had faced fear and survived. As I stood beside Lyra, I knew our partnership would endure. She was my guide, my mentor, my ally. I, human, flawed yet courageous, was ready to face the unknown, side by side with her. A soft pulse from the artifact caught my attention, glowing brighter than before. A warning and a promise. This was not the end. The galaxy had noticed the spark of humanity, and I was ready to meet it all. The city of Zyphora had begun to heal. Crystal towers once again glimmered in the soft, ethereal light of the violet sun. In the streets below, a new sense of purpose had taken hold, as humans and Zyphorans worked side by side, rebuilding what the alien fleet had shattered. Liam walked through these reborn avenues, and with every step, his confidence grew. He was no longer the timid, unsure man who had stumbled into this alien world just weeks ago. He had stared death in the face, survived against impossible odds, and finally learned to trust the fire of his own courage and instincts. Beside him, Lyra moved with a silent grace, her silver hair catching the light like spun starlight, her piercing eyes scanning the horizon. Though she appeared calm, a subtle tension pulled at her posture, a warrior's constant vigilance. Suddenly she stopped, turning to Liam with an abruptness that cut through the city's peaceful hum. "There is something you must see," she said, her voice steady, yet laced with an undeniable urgency. She led him away from the bustling heart of the city, toward its edge, to a towering observatory that stretched impossibly high, piercing the clouds above Zyphora's skyline. Inside, the air was cool and still. With a gesture from Lyra, a holographic map of the nearby star systems flickered to life, bathing the room in a ghostly blue light. A pattern of dark moving points appeared within the star chart, creeping through the void. They were ships, but their scale was terrifying, their design far more advanced and ominous than anything Liam had faced before. "Not all threats announce themselves with fire and chaos," Lyra said, her tone growing unusually grave. "This fleet, it is not like the others. It is ancient, intelligent, and terrifyingly patient. It watches civilizations for centuries, studying them, learning their weaknesses, before it strikes without warning. Zyphora was lucky to survive the last attack. Humanity may not be." A cold knot twisted in Liam's stomach. He had survived the invasion, learned the ways of this alien city, and even earned the respect of a warrior like Lyra. But this was a threat on a cosmic scale, beyond anything he could have imagined. He stared at the fleet in the hologram. Its ships moved slowly, methodically, like ancient predators circling unseen prey, their patience a weapon in itself. Why haven't they attacked yet?" he managed to ask, his voice barely a whisper. "They are testing," Lyra replied, her gaze fixed on the creeping darkness. "They are measuring strength, patience, and strategy. This is a threat that will require more than superior technology or raw power. It will demand innovation, boundless courage, and the ability to adapt. It will require humans." Liam swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing down on him. For the first time, he understood that his role in this galaxy was far greater than he had ever dreamed. He wasn't just a survivor or a student of Xipheran ways. He was a symbol, a spark meant to ignite the potential of humanity in a universe that saw them as insignificant. Lyra placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. You have grown quickly, Liam. But the real journey is only beginning. Everything you learned during the attack, the courage, the unconventional strategy, the sheer unpredictability of the human spirit, it will all be tested again. And soon. As if on cue, a soft pulse emanated from the artifact Liam still carried. Its inner light flickered, a warm glow reacting to the cold, distant presence of the approaching threat. In that moment, Liam realized it was not just a tool. It was a compass, a warning, and a guide. It was calling him forward, hinting at secrets and powers he had yet to understand. The fear still lingered in the back of his mind, a cold shadow of the battles he'd fought. But now, it was tempered by a new, unyielding determination. He looked from the artifact in his hand to the menacing fleet on the map, and then to Lyra. Then we prepare, he said, his voice firm. Whatever comes, I will be ready. A rare, approving smile touched Lyra's lips. Good. Remember this, Liam. Humans may be underestimated, but you possess something no alien, no machine, no cosmic force can ever truly predict. You adapt, you survive, and you rise when all hope seems lost. And you are just beginning to show the galaxy what that truly means. Outside, the reconstructed city of Xyphera shimmered under its violet sun. Beyond its protective embrace, the stars stretched into an endless, indifferent void. But hidden within that darkness were new challenges, new threats, and grand adventures waiting for humanity to face. Liam gazed into that vast expanse, feeling not just fear, but the thrilling pull of the unknown. Somewhere in the deep shadows of space, the ancient fleet watched. And somewhere deep inside him, Liam felt a spark ignite, a defiant whisper that echoed in his soul. We are human. We survive. We rise. And we are ready. The galaxy had finally noticed him. And now the true story of humanity, courage, and survival was only just beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter.